Welcome to the first lesson on objects. This program is going to be called Robot ACM, and we're going to build a little robot or some sort of character that you'd like to animate using the ACM graphics. So you'll need your three import statements, the ACM graphics, acm.program, and java.bot. Now the first thing we're going to do, set up our class definition, Robot ACM, and we're going to extend the graphics program as usual. And if you want to go ahead and set the application height of your applet, you can do so right here. Please note if you're using Eclipse, it won't show up to that size. You'll have to go into the applet's properties, and I can show you how you do that a little bit later. Notice we don't have an init method. We could add that later if we need something to happen when the program initializes, but we're going to go ahead and just have our run method, which is where this applet is going to begin. Now this line 15, you may not have seen this before, but this is how we create an object. So we have, and I'll add some comments, we have a new object, the robot's head. And if you were to ask me, well, what is it? What is the head graphic? We could say, well, that's a new robot head object. One way of looking at that might be to think of integer x. Instead of robot head, we could have integer x. So head is just the variable name, or in this case the object name. And I'll write that in. Head is the name of the object. And if we were to say, well, like integer x, what type of variable is x? You'd say an integer. If we said, well, what type of object is head? You would say it's a robot head. And that's because we have that right here. Now, the only thing that's different with that is that you say, okay, well, what's a robot head? Well, right now it's nothing. We haven't created it, so we're going to create it. And that's what this side does. This side simply says, let's create some space, some new space in the computer's memory for the robot head, which we're going to construct in just a minute. So let me finish typing that here. So robot head is the type of object. So it's something we define. So just like we're bringing in these import programs, pre-made items, we can sort of do the same thing. And what this is going to allow us to do is also communicate between two different files. So don't add these items yet. Go ahead and create a new file. We'll call it robot head, and we're going to define that. We have our three import statements. We've created it, public class robot head, extends G compound. We're going to make a compound graphic, which is something just a little different than what we've done in the past. So let's create two G ovals, one for the head, one for the nose. And then let's create our own method here. Or excuse me, this is what's called a constructor, and I'll visit that a little bit later. One thing to note, this has exactly the same name as the class. And what a constructor is when you build something, you want it maybe to have some default characteristics, such as in this case we want the color of our robot's head to be blue, and we want it, the size of the ovals we're making to be this height and width, and we want to add them in these locations. So every time we create a new robot head, our new object, it's going to have those characteristics. So what's really cool is with objects, you can use them as many times as you want. It's called code reuse. For instance, we can do robot head, bad robot. We'll say there's an enemy robot equals new robot head. So we can reuse these as many times as we want, just like we use G-oval as often as we want. So just as G-oval is something defined for us, now the robot's head is something that is defined for us as well. And we can use it as many times as we want. So we'll have the bad robot's head. Now, going back to my other program, this is a constructor. Once again, it looks like a method, but it has the exact same name as the class file. We can also make our own methods in here. So notice this method is this constructor is contained here, and we have another method, public void make ball. And in that, we're going to create simply a ball, a G-oval, new G-oval. So we've seen this before. This is where an object is created, a ball. Now we're creating objects over here, but of things we create. So this is one of the beauty of object-oriented programs. And programming is that we can create things that we would like to use and reuse them as many times. So there's a lot of time saving once you learn how to do this. So when we execute make ball, it's going to create a ball 20 pixels high and wide. It's going to set the color to red, fill it, and it's going to add it to the screen. And our program closes right there. I'm going to compile and make sure these, and then run these. Before I run these, let me explain these lines. So this one's going to add the new head object to the screen that we made. We have our wait for click. And this is a line you've probably seen before, but let me explain it. It is the object.method syntax. And that allows us to access any object and then use its method. So, and what's also cool is we can reuse this as many times as we would like. And I can even do now when we run it, we won't see 3 balls show up because they're all going to be in the same location. Okay, there I did wait for click, and that one appeared. So when I say that we're not going to have 3 balls, I mean 3 blue ones, 3 hollow ones, and 3 red ones, because each of these will make 3. So we just have them layered on top of each other. And we can take it one step further. We're going to add an arm here. So go back into the, let's see, well, we probably don't want to make an arm in the robot head, so we'll make maybe we'll just make some other character. So we'll create our own method, public void. We'll make eyes. And we need the parentheses. Parentheses there always indicate it's a method, and later we'll be able to pass information back and forth using those parentheses. So for make eyes, we might do, I'm just going to copy these. Going to make it eye left. And I'll copy that and make eye right. I'll make them smaller. And I'll copy these 3. And I'm not sure we need to specify that we need it white, but might as well. So, eye left. Eye right. We're going to add those. See if I get any error messages. And one thing I noticed is that I did not specify where I want to add those. So we'll make these maybe at 100 comma 100, and I'll put these at 50, just to see if we can get them in there. Go back to my main program, and once again, this program is where we're going to run everything, because we have the run method. And I will execute, wait for click, and nothing happens because we haven't put in any method calls. So let's say we want the bad robot to have eyes. We can do make eyes. So what's nice is we can use this over and over. So just like in a video game, say you're playing, there's lots of bad guys in the video game, rather than code each one of those separately, they just create lots of objects based on that. And then they just might have some different parameters so they look slightly different. So let's run this. Wait for click. We get that. And make eyes. Well, it should show up, but I put white circles on a white background. So you may have to change that if you want yours to work.